This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes, for your half-assed entertainment news with no bullshit, with our hosts, Summer Helene and Bear Fiorda, only on Talk 4 Media.
G'day guys, welcome to Behind the Scenes. I'm your host, Summer Helene, and we are on with my co-host, what's his face? I do need to make sure, Alexis, are we being posted, whatever, are we being posted on Sirius? Are we being put out there everywhere we need to be? Excellent. So you can find us on multiple channels in multiple places. Because I keep having everyone ask me that.
About what? Where we are?
What your name is, that counts too. I'm kidding. This is my co-host.
Oh, thank you.
What's his face? Bear Fiorda. And I am Lady Summer. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. I am using my title now out of spite.
Why?
To the Duchess of Skankface.
What? Oh.
So hear me out on this.
If you make your whole life about her, she's really winning, isn't she?
Oh, she doesn't even know who I am. That's not the point. I genuinely believe a threat to monarchy anywhere is a threat to monarchy everywhere. And I don't want your political system. You guys have the worst political system. I mean, not the worst, except for all of the others, but hear me out. You have the worst people in your political system.
Here's how I've heard it, and I think it works best. Democracy is the greatest. Hold on. Democracy is the greatest political system we have because we don't have anything better. That's the best way to put it. It's not super, but we don't have something better than that.
Blah. The phrase is, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others.
Oh, that's it. That one.
I know. I told him that.
It's basically
the point. The point is, hear me out.
I'll hear you out.
You have idiots, worse idiots than we do. I hate your political system, and everyone in here is like, and you guys end up massively undereducated. You don't fund your children. It's weird. And you only have two political parties. So I have to choose between dumb and dumber. No, thank you. My vote is that you get returned to the Commonwealth because clearly you are not grown up enough to govern yourselves.
Hey, how many world wars have we stepped in and won for your Commonwealth, though? Also, thank you, Provable Gaming, for saying that my hair looks great. You are fantastic. Are you going to answer the question?
I wasn't listening to you. What?
I said, how many world wars did we step in to save you in your Commonwealth?
One.
Dose.
One.
Okay, you explain this one.
Sure. America didn't step into World War II to save the Commonwealth.
No,
you did allow you in World War I. You did. The only one you stepped in to save us was World War I. World War II, you didn't step in to save us.
You're right.
That was a global save. But America, because it was so far removed, didn't suffer the same way most of the world did. And that allowed it to become a global superpower. And it wasn't a global superpower before that.
No, that definitely.
That is what created the global superpower. So you're welcome. You guys owe Adolf Humperdinck a favor.
So it was us needing support. You're welcome. I love that. I love that so much.
I'm simply saying.
No, I know. We may have a great military, but that's because we pour all of our money into it. We don't.
I know. Do you know what? This would be a
this
radical
goes back to the
thought.
education conversation.
This is a radical thought. Have you considered education? It's this thing where you teach children to read.
You know what's funny is, as long as you have a lot of common sense, you can get into the military and they'll pay for your education. The military cares about your education.
And you only risk dying.
Only
it's almost like,
wartime.
No. Hear me out here.
Okay.
It's when I hear people that are like, I joined the military, so I got my college paid for. Why should people get college for free if I didn't? I swear to God, you guys are like petulant children. You guys invented, by the way, invented national medical, and it was rescinded under Richard Nixon. We all copied what you guys had. You were the first country to guarantee medical. Now you're like, nope. It's not all right. We do not need to take care of our citizens. Then, it gets
Why'd
better.
You do it in the JFK voice?
I was trying for Nixon. Didn't go well. But then, Nixon was Nixon. All I'm saying is you guys have idiots in politics.
Yeah, always.
But with the king.
Okay, with the king.
When the political system trades out, we have some stability. My issue, though, is, of course, with Skanky Pants McGee.
Oh, that's probably how this conversation started.
Yeah, we were talking about her.
So, for those of you who don't know, we're referring to the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. That was not a bit. I screwed up.
The Duchess of Sussex. Well, that is how she got the position of Duchess of Sussex. It's
I'm
also
sure
how
it
she
helped
got.
a whole hell of a lot.
No. It's also how she got her first 2 husbands and her job on Suits. And I am not going to knock someone for social climbing. Do it. If I could do it, I would.
Yeah.
Except I'm stuck with this guy. So either make more money or get me someone richer.
The audience is going to catch that moment where I have a realization. Wait.
Yeah, you're not much of a social. If I could climb socially, I would. I'm just stuck with you, so it's not much of a social climb.
You're climbing through some quicksand right now, is what you're trying to do.
The point is, I'm not knocking her for climbing socially.
Okay, what are you knocking her for?
I'm knocking her for the way she's handled it.
Yeah.
For those that were on here last week, we had His Highness Dr. Prince Mario Max.
Dr. Prince Mario Max.
On the show. And we talked about him as a working royal.
Yes.
And what he does. And I respect the hell out of that. I really do. You know, I was talking to my father yesterday. We were talking about my family's titles. We got it by murdering people.
So wait, if you got it.
So we didn't. So it's not like.
Does that mean if we we're on YouTube, unalive a member of the royal family now, we can take their title?
No, that's not how any of that works.
Okay.
We went on behalf of the king at the time.
Yeah.
To war, killed a bunch of people, got given the land as a thank you for doing that.
And this
the titles.
This was prior to your
your
excommunication to Australia.
No.
To land
No. So one part of my family got excommunicated to Australia. The other went voluntarily, because apparently you don't want to live somewhere where you murdered everyone.
By the way, I'm sorry for making you say that word. It's not excommunicated. What's that word? It's not eviction. Exiled. Yes, thank you. Exiled.
The point is.
Okay. Get back to
when you are dealing with somebody like the Duchess of Sussex, a social climber, there isn't anything wrong with that. That is how historically women have gotten ahead. They've used their sexuality, they've used marriage, they've used social connection. That's not a bad thing. My problem is that the destruction she's leaving in her wake because of her narcissism and lack of self-awareness. What she's doing is damaging brands, damaging things like the Invictus Games, which are very important. Alexis, would you put the air purifier off, please? My apologies, guys. I left the air purifier on. There are fires around here. Oh, how do we love this? I hope Yana's not looking because she's getting one of these for Christmas. This is my Vivienne Westwood. I love Vivienne Westwood.
Let me bring you something shiny back in front of you.
Oh, I just give it a shout out. I love designer stuff.
That's fair.
It does so look one of the too. Things, thank you. One of the things I'm trying to do is talk on this show about different designers, independent designers, smaller designers, and designers. I mean, Vivienne Westwood is not a small designer.
She's been around for a minute.
Well, she died in like 2002. She's one of the biggest designers in the world. And she started as like a bondage shop. But
started as a bondage shop?
She did. I'll give you the history. But the point is, everyone has a place that they start. Everyone has their history. And in the Duchess of Sussex's case, I do not disapprove of her marrying her way into success. Historically, that's the only way women got ahead.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm still in favor of it. Marry up, like get your bag, no problem. But if you are wrecking it on the way through, that's my problem, because you have Prince Harry, and I'm going to say this, and I mean no offense to His Highness, he was incredibly sheltered. When you're looking at a prince, he was closed off, he was sheltered, he was protected. He was not ready for a woman that had already kind of screwed her way up the ladder, and she'd already kind of slept her way to the top. She'd done the yachts. She'd done all of that. So, I mean, she was coming in with some talent. I wish I had that level of talent. Well, I'm just saying.
He started the game fighting the boss. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing wrong with wanting to get ahead.
No, there's not.
But
he was very naive too. And so it's very much, he didn't know enough, and she had way too much information on how to do that.
Pretty much.
But not enough about the monarchy to kind of stay in the good graces there.
I think she's a bigot and a racist.
Really? Why?
the way she talked about bowing to our queen, like it was medieval times dinner and tournament. If I turned around and spoke about another person's culture like that, everyone would say that I was a bigot and a racist. I don't think she gets a pass because half of her's black.
That's a good point.
She is a racist. She is prejudiced against an entire group of people, and she's bigoted against our culture. I think Meghan Markle is a bigot and a racist. And I have a severe problem dealing with somebody like His Highness Prince Mario Max, who puts in his work and does the social activism, and then the Duchess of Sussex that shows up for a photo. You look at people that I know personally in the nobility and royalty that show up whether there is a camera or not.
Yeah.
That show up and do the work.
Well, she's very much like an Angelina Jolie type character, where we only bring the kids out when there's cameras, or we only go to work when there's cameras. We only do things to showcase.
Here's the thing: she makes Angelina Jolie look good, because what I can say here is at least Angelina Jolie took those kids to a better place.
That's true. They're living great, and they have futures ahead of them, if not already. How old are those kids now?
Adults.
Okay.
But where what Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, by being weak, and I hate spineless. I actually hate spineless men. That is something I find personally offensive. I don't like weak people, and weak men disgust me, and I find him weak. He allowed his wife to completely remove his children from their family, their history, their life, and not just one side. She doesn't have a relationship with her own family.
No, that's what's up. We kind of get the indication that
she's completely isolated him. I suggest everyone look into H.G. Tudor. He is a known narcissist. He's honest about it, and he talks about what she's doing and why.
Yeah, I'm going to go and say that as well. When you get into a relationship with somebody, they already have a terrible relationship with their family, and it's not necessarily explained. Not saying you have to pry into them on date one, but if you've been around for a minute and they just unwilling or don't really seem to have an answer for why they don't talk to their family, it's probably an issue with them already, especially if they're trying to convince you to do the same thing.
Oh, and if they have no old friends. A big one for me
Really?
is old friends. How long have you had your friends? If you can't maintain friendships, what does that say about you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's the first cue of a social climber. And that's something I'll tell you guys. If you want to get ahead, the easiest thing to do is look at a group of people, make friends with the person at the bottom of the pecking order. Use that friend to take you to the person at the top of the pecking order. And that top friend will always have a better group. And you do that to move group to group. The problem is when you discard. That first friend isn't a stepping stone. They're a friend opening a door. So if you're not capable of being a friend back, don't socially climb. There are ways to do it. And like I said, I will never knock somebody for it. I've had plenty of conversations with people who come over to me and say, look, I want to be your friend because I want A, B, C, and D.
No, honesty is the best policy. And I guess that's kind of, I think she even did that up to a point, because when they got back to the States with Harry and everything, she was able to call upon numerous different people to help her, but she burned them all.
But she called them in Harry's name. This was not her relationships.
She wasn't friends with the Tyler Perry?
No, she'd never met him before they went and stayed with him. She'd never met Oprah before the wedding. She invited Oprah. She also invited Reese Witherspoon, whose response was, I don't know her. Why would I go to her wedding?
That's a pretty good response.
She invited George Clooney and Mark Clooney. She invited a bunch of celebrities. Right. She dreamed of being a movie star, and she used marrying a prince to become a movie star. But she missed the most important thing. Royalty is above celebrity. They don't compete. Now that she's had the prince step down, they are competing with the celebrities for jobs. And he can't understand how he went from a position where he was loved and respected to people don't want to deal with him. And I'm like, because your wife's a troublesome liar and you are now competing for jobs. Like he was offered.
Also, you're feeding into the delusion.
That's it. He's an enabler. And that just came out through the Hollywood Reporter. Oh. And something that was really interesting. Alexis, would you grab me a little pair of manicure scissors, please? Something that was really interesting. He was offered a job.
Yeah.
Modeling for Hugo Boss.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he said, I'll do it with her, but I won't do it alone. And you know, this isn't him.
Terrible mistake.
Horrible. And they went, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'd like to remind everyone, every time we use bad language, we give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and Free MMA. We swear because we care.
Fuck yeah. I want to say real quick as well that we're not exactly huge fans of Hugo Boss either.
No, he was involved.
Yeah, exactly.
But we also have German cars, and they were too, so let's not talk about that. The point is, and you can't hold people currently accountable for the mistakes of the past. If we held people accountable for the mistakes of the past, I had part of my family that was deported to Australia. I wouldn't be titled.
Well, and I guess we wouldn't be allies with Germany now, would we?
Exactly.
Fair enough.
I love when
Boss, you're forgiven.
My ear's so itchy. So I do want to give a quick shout out. Our giveaway this week is from Off-Road Rentals, which you guys know we're giving away an ATV ride. So if you want to come out and ride with Bear, we will set you up a ride with Bear if you win. I want to give a shout out to Tiny Bubbles Hair Salon in Palm Springs, California. Thank you for always making me red carpet ready. I want to give a shout out. Thank you. I need nail clippers. I want to give a shout out right now. I have a little bit of skin that's coming off my nail and it's driving me crazy.
Ooh.
And I will pick at it completely.
Show the camera.
I will. I'm trying to get it. It's like right coming off my finger right there. It's driving me crazy.
There's people who love those ASMR like ear cleaning and picking videos. Yeah.
Oh yeah, where they have the ear sucker.
I was going to suggest right now that we can find a sponsor for an ear cleaner or a little ear sucking device.
Because my ear's itchy.
Yeah, why not? I don't think they're relevant, but it gives people something else to watch.
Well, I was going to give you the cream savers and see which one you liked better.
We have been waiting on those for so long. I'm so happy to have them. This one is a strawberry.
I like. He asked right as we were doing it. He's asking, "What about foreign food?"
So what is this exactly? Because I don't really know what a cream saver is.
A cream saver was popular in the early 2000s. Everyone said they wanted to see them come back, so they were given out in limited supply. We got them at the world market, but we want to see if they're as good as anyone says. Next week, by the way, Bear's going to be eating frog's legs. Just FYI.
What is special about cream savers? Like, what made them so popular?
I have no idea. They were just some kind of hard candy.
This looks like a peppermint, not gonna lie, but it's a strawberry. And
we'll show it to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull out right now. So they're individually wrapped candies. It looks like a whatchamacallit, a mint, but it's supposed to be
a strawberry lolly. Thank you, Alexis. Why are you chewing it? Suck on it, you heathen.
What?
Suck.
I thought you were supposed to chew these.
No, you suck on. Pretend you're a woman in Thailand and you need some money.
Pretend I'm Meghan Markle.
There you go.
Let's tie it all back in.
Pretend you want to be a duchess.
How about a Dutch man?
Whatever. You could do it to him too. Just suck.
It tastes good. It tastes like strawberries and not really cream. So whatever like synthetic strawberry flavor you can imagine from your local ice cream man. That's what the flavor is here.
All right. Here's the orange.
I have not finished this one.
Ugh.
I'll get back to the orange one in a second. This is what it looks like though.
It is. I always liked.
It's almost caramelly.
I really wish they had a lemon one. I've been obsessed. So I get really bad nausea, especially since I've been on the Ozempic. But I had it before that because of the lupus issue. And I really hoped that when so C's came out with these lemon lollipops, and I'm now out of them.
C's sponsor us.
I need the lemon lollipops. They help with nausea. Really, really help with nausea, and I'm out of them. And so I'm sitting here really nauseous. I wish they had a cream saver lolly. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, woe is me. I'm just nauseous. It almost tastes like
popcorn when you chew on it, not gonna lie.
Are you on drugs?
No, I'm just throwing it out there for the audience to give my full in-depth review of this candy.
It's not as much fun when you eat lollies as when we give you something disgusting.
Like
Alexis, next week, can you get some canned frog's legs? We're going to try delicacies in a can.
Bro, why canned frog's legs?
Because that's the whole thing right now. Did you just call me bro?
Yeah, I am insulted by you right now.
Bro.
You can't even get me good frog's legs. You're going to be canned.
You've had good frog's legs.
I've never had frog's legs.
You have. The point, yes, you have. The point is,
in my dreams, I've had frog's legs.
No, in the very beginning of our relationship, you actually did.
It's kind of glossy, isn't it? Look at that.
The point is, I want to try canned delicacies. They have canned escargot.
I hate
They
orange.
have canned. That's lovely. They have canned escargot. They have canned frog's legs. They have canned caviar. So what we're going to do is we're going to get really high-end foods in a can.
We did do
caviar comes in a can.
Caviar comes in a can.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do this for the show, let's be a little bit bougie and get like actual good food.
I'm getting you the really crap versions. Like,
Why?
we're not getting the high end. I want to try. They even have, and this is my favorite. They have a canned turkey dinner, a full turkey in a can. How
big's the can? I'm gonna pass on this orange thing. One moment, please.
Why are you spitting it into your hand? Now you're sticking.
The wrapper.
Can somebody please get him a rag?
Yeah,
okay, you stop touching anything. You are making a mess. Okay, I'm gonna need an assistant. Thank
No,
you very much.
We need assistance.
Stop touching anything.
My hands are right here. They're not going
we need adult assistance.
Oh, we need adult assistance.
Okay,
I am an adult.
Yeah, you'd think. Well, I'm gonna do with you what I used to do with my fosters and with my daughter. I turn around. The rule is hands up for hygiene, and you walk around with your hands up. Make sure. Do you check with the guest? Yeah. We want to make sure we are set. Only if it's made by Gerber. I like that.
Oh, Gerber makes caviar for babies. That is bougie. I gotta tell you. I thought I was making a good joke about it.
I know. I'm not sure they do, but
okay.
If they do, you're trying it. That's another one we should try. Baby food.
Why baby food?
Well,
it comes in a can, but still.
No, it comes in jars.
Jars.
But basically, what we're looking at doing is
baby yams. What? Your eyes are really pretty.
Speaking of things that are canned and corny. So we have a lot going on in media right now, but the biggest thing does seem to be Blake Lively being a mean girl.
Who was that other one they were talking about recently? That new artist who dropped that song, Shake, was it? Or was it?
Are you talking about Sabrina Carpenter?
Sabrina Carpenter, thank you. So she's also kind of gotten there.
Around Espresso?
No. Well, was it the album or was it the song?
Just keep going.
Anyways, the point is she's gotten kind of big recently. She did it through her own method of like rebranding, right? And actually working with Jenna Ortega. That was a big thing. She was part of that music video that helped blow it up in the first place. Now that's not the same as Blake Lively's Mean Girl. So what do they, I guess my question and my thought process would be like, what can Blake take from that transition that Carpenter did?
Carpenter is sort of a mean girl. She's an Ariana Grande. She nicks other people's boyfriends. Oh. That is going to bite her in the ass. But what she did was she decided to follow a style. She decided to create a style rather than follow it.
Yeah.
The biggest problem Sabrina Carpenter had, she spent 10 years to become an overnight success. That's not uncommon. Mm. But if you look back at her old songs, it's very Y2K. She leaned into every aesthetic. Once she created her own aesthetic, and that's what people have trouble with, is it takes a great deal of effort to become your own person. And most people can't do that. They lean into other people. They don't create their own aesthetic. Once you have your own aesthetic, your own look. If I tell you to think of Conor McGregor on a red carpet, what do you see?
On a red carpet? Mm-hmm. It depends. I think if I'm looking at what he is today, I expect him to be in some kind of fancy suit, nice jewelry, probably not with an entourage, maybe with his wife, maybe his kid is going to be in there too. If you talk about early Conor, I would expect him to walk out with like a purple fur coat with no shirt and like shiny. He was very pimp-esque in his earlier fight days.
But he's still pimp-esque. He's
just different. I suppose, yeah, it's just a little bit different.
But his brand is the same. It's always been money.
Yes.
It may have been ghetto money and it may now be high-end money. He's changed with the time. You cannot stay stagnant.
Yeah.
But what he's selling is the same. He's selling the dream of being rich.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? He is really selling a dream of be rich.
He is.
Conor, fight me.
He's selling the same dream that the boxers did in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, this is the pinnacle of what a person can achieve or be.
When back in the day when the Kardashians were relevant is when he was selling the Yeah. When the Kardashians were relevant, he was selling that kind of money. Mm-hmm. That money, that bougie aesthetic.
I mean, they're not super irrelevant.
They're completely fucking irrelevant. They have
also
done
drowning in financial.
Yeah, they're drowning in financial debt. Well, the biggest reason they're irrelevant is they created the beauty standard.
Yeah.
And then the beauty standard changed.
Yeah.
So they themselves are now, because of their own machinations, out of style.
Well,
it's amazing.
It is very unfortunate, but we know it's not unfortunate.
You're pregnant.
No, our guest today. Welcome to the show, Sherri. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing
Lovely,
great. Thank you.
you.
So,
Awesome.
would you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So I'm known as the Real Slim Sherri on social media. I'm an entrepreneur. I make funny videos about getting older and like growing up in the 80s and 90s, and just about midlife. And yeah, I do a little comedy. I do a little serious stuff. But I've got a collective 5 million followers, I guess, across all the platforms that I'm on, and I just. I try to convey the message that we're all just winging it every day, right? We're just here making it up as we go. And that's, I try to share that with people, and not to take life too seriously. You got to laugh at yourself and just try to enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize, especially like, when you're 18 and 19, you do not realize how much the grown-ups really are winging it.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people there's no such thing as grown-ups. Like, that was a story, a fairy tale that was sold to all of us, that when you reach a certain age, you're going to be a grown-up. There's no such thing as grown-ups. Everybody's winging it. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're just pretending that they do. And I just, I try to make light of more serious things in life. Don't take yourself too seriously, like I said, and try to laugh at yourself and laugh at life, because it's too short, and we just got to enjoy it while we're here.
That's really awesome. But now you took that and you got on social media. So did you feel like a calling? You had to tell this to the world, or did it start out with just something maybe you were watching videos for fun and thought this would be a cool idea, and it blossomed into this?
That's exactly what happened. I, like so many other people, got COVID back in like 2021, I guess it was. And before that, I really only spent time on social media to promote my businesses. But I found myself digesting content a lot while I was just going through the COVID phase. And I just remember one day thinking, I think I could do this. And I originally thought I would use it to promote my business, and it never turned into that. I started making some funny videos. And at first it didn't really take off, but then I had a couple of videos that I made really just talking about being a Gen Xer, just again, talking about growing up in the 80s, that went viral. And I kind of jumped on that at the time. And then it just kind of evolved into what it is today. I never imagined I would ever have the amount of followers that I have. I never thought I would still be making content now 3 years later. I didn't imagine I would be a content creator. That was never in my, was never on my bucket list, I guess. Not something that I thought I would do. But here I am now, fast forward 3 years later, and I'm still making content and still growing on social media. I obviously.
Oh, is she there? I got to tell you, I love Gen X. They're the most nihilistic generation. Nihilistic.
Okay, what do you mean? Like, they're kind of just... Isn't that the way you look at the world? It's like negative all the time.
No, it's the don't give a fuck. So you are looking at a generation. So our generation were raised by the boomers. Our parents didn't give a fuck about us.
Okay.
Their parents didn't think they existed. She is the latchkey. She is the latchkey kid generation.
Wait, hold on. What does that mean? The baby boomers had millennials, so the silent generation would have been their parents, right? Okay, they had to have come from somewhere.
Yeah, hear me out. They were either the elder boomers or the younger silent gen.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, they are the most nihilistic. They are the don't give a fuck generation.
Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. You gotta love technology. So I'm here. I don't know I missed whatever you were saying. So
we're talking about the nihilism of Gen X versus the. So we're both. I'm a millennial. He's a millennial. We're at opposite ends of it. But our generation is kind of the sky is falling generation. And your generation is the latchkey kid, drink from the hose, fuck it, everything's on fire generation.
Yeah, I mean, watch it all burn. We are pyros at heart. We grew up burning everything for fun. And we kind of just go through life the same way, which is, just light it up, watch it burn. And yeah, so I have a millennial son that I had my son really young. And so I have a couple of young kids too. So I have 2 Gen Alphas, and then I have this millennial. And yeah, you nailed it. That is the millennial generation. And Gen X, we're jaded. We're cynical. We see the world through a different lens because we've been kind of taking care of ourselves since we were small kids. And I love that. So my goal ultimately is that I try to reach younger generations, and like I said, just share the idea that the sky isn't falling all the time, and that life is meant to be messy, and just try to enjoy it, right? Like don't take life too seriously, and just poke fun at yourself and others, because I do poke a lot of fun at other people, and also at myself. So I don't spare myself from the fun of it all. But yeah, no, you nailed it. That is definitely the difference between millennials and Gen X, and we never really evolved from that. We kind of stay very, very rooted in that ideology.
Well, you guys were the Beavis and Butthead heavy metal generation. Like, it was, you were the Simpsons were born, Family Guy was, like, everything that came from you guys is South Park.
Oh yeah, Wayne's World, South Park, very, very cheeky, we're very sarcastic, very snarky, and we like it that way. Like that's our love language. Like if the sassier you are, the snarkier you are, the more we probably will love you, because that's just how you start speaking our language. And where things get a little sideways is when you've got the opposite of that. We weren't really allowed to complain or whine about anything, if you will, growing up. And so when we hear that, a lot of Gen Xers, I try not to do it so much, but a lot of Gen Xers will, they kind of frown upon that. So they give a lot of shit to the whiners of the world.
My dad's right on that border of Gen X, and let me tell you,
just doesn't let it go. You mentioned that
he's been in 4 wars. You can't.
Like, a little bit of that too in there. Then
you don't bitch to him.
You mentioned that you had your son really early on, so he's a millennial. But you also have 2 Gen Alpha children as well.
I do. 2 little Gen Alpha velociraptors is what they are. They are a different breed altogether. They're little honey badgers, if you will. They're like Gen X, reincarnated. So yeah, I've got 2 10 and 13-year-old girls, and my first one was a boy. He was way easier. The girls are hard. They're hard.
Granted, I foster and I adopt. I always found the girls easier because I understood them.
I thought I would understand them, but I wasn't prepared for this level. It is. Maybe because of the way that I'm wired, the girls are harder. The boy was easy. I don't know what it is, but it's also different. I raised my son in a completely different time. He came up in the 90s, and now these kids are coming up in the 2000s, and just with technology and social media and everything, things are just different. They're wild, and
I also think it's the age gap. When I fostered kids, my oldest I was like 12 when he was born. Not for me, I adopted him, but he was easier because I understood him better. And I'm finding as I get older and the kids get younger that I foster, it's harder because I have no idea what the hell the skibbity is.
Oh my God, they talk about skibbity toilet in Ohio. I was born and raised in Ohio, so when they say that, I'm like, I don't understand what that means. What are you? That it's supposed to be like a dig. It's like a negative thing, and I'm like, I don't. Anyway, and the Giat and all the other, Riz, and I'm like, just speak English, would you? Like, why some of the things they say to articulate what they want to say, I'm like, it would have been easier if you had just said what the words like we've all been using forever. It would have been a lot easier. But now the crazier and wilder, the better. And I think all of us did that just to keep our parents guessing. Like you use it's like a code, like code words, so we don't know what they're talking about.
It depended on the parent. I did it with my mom. I didn't do it with my dad. He hit. So I come from Australia. They spare the rod, spoil the child kind of thing.
Oh, that's how I grew up.
Speak the king's English or die. It was a little easier.
What I wanted to ask, and now you've kind of gone into it too, is what were the challenges in raising kids from 2 different generations? It's not even because that's not even
very different gen.
Because you're not even talking about back to back. You have a whole generation of people that just skipped over in this process.
Yes, I did. I skipped Gen Z altogether. There's 21 years between my firstborn and my second, and I'm telling you, I will say that as somebody who's older now, I am more equipped, I think, than I was when I raised my first child. Like, I was still young, so I was crazy and wild myself trying to raise a child. So, and not knowing what I was doing, just trying to figure out, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I wing it a lot better now. But yeah, it's challenging. Like I said, with social media and just the world we live in today versus how the world was just simpler in the 90s, 80s and 90s. And it's gotten pretty complicated. And so it's challenging. It's different, but I do feel more patient than I was raising my first one. And so I tolerate their crazy a little better.
Boy, I went the other way.
As you got older, less patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think if I didn't have young kids, I would be way less patient, because I used to be a very impatient person. I used to joke that I don't have the patience for impatient people. That's how impatient I was. But then my young ones have taught me to be a little more patient, especially with the girls, because like I said, they're crazy. And my only standard response to them is that your crazy is going to meet my crazy. And I promise mine is crazier than yours. And so I just try to keep my crazy contained, because they don't know how to contain theirs yet. And so that's the part I find myself struggling with two girls, is I'm like, I wasn't ready for this. And so they have taught me to be more patient, for sure.
Absolutely.
Generationally, you went through more change than almost any other generation. Gen Xers are very widely ignored, but there's been more change in your lifetime. Where millennials kind of grew up on computers, they became that bridge. Your generation didn't get them till you guys were older teens.
Mm-hmm.
Phones didn't come in until you were, in your late teens, early 20s for the cell phone. Like it's such a, it didn't come at the point that you were young and it was, you were 4, so it was easy to learn. You came at this point where everything changed and it was overnight for you guys.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, no, the partly straddling the analog versus the digital world. I do think so. We are forgotten. We're left out of everything, and we're for a long time. I think it bothered some of us. Now we're like, I kind of like. I actually am okay with you leaving me out. But yeah, straddling that analog versus digital world, I will say that it's made us extremely we're resilient anyway, but very flexible. We have learned to have to go between. And we joke that if there's ever an apocalypse, we'll be the ones that survive, because we still know how to do all that old stuff. And, when all the technology goes down, it's a joke, of course, but in the event it ever did, I know how to dial a rotary phone. I know how to, I know how to do certain things that that do not exist anymore. And so there has been rapid change. It's been rapid, even though, I'll be 52 next week. I don't feel that old in my mind. I, like many others, just still feel, like I'm in my 20s or 30s mentally. But, it has allowed us to be extremely flexible, and all the things that we've gone through, not just technology wise, but just in the economy and the world in general. It's brought us to, I always say that the strongest of us have survived, because we came up in a time when there were no seatbelts and there were no warning labels and there were no, don't eat this, or don't put this over your head on the bags kind of thing. We did all that stuff, and those of us that survived, I think are true survivors. The rest, natural selection is a real thing. The rest of them, they just didn't make it.
Proof of the Darwin Awards. Yes, it's the winner of the Darwin Awards. Yeah, I will definitely say there was no don't eat Tide Pods on things in your generation.
Common sense.
No, we didn't even have pods. Like, we were still using powder detergent and liquid detergent. And I joke, that standing joke of the Tide Pod generation. I see it so often. I don't know that it will ever be lived. They'll never live it down. No. But there were no warnings. I joke that we were like the crash test dummies, and everybody can thank us for all the warning labels that they have, because we went first. We tried it first. And, there were a lot of oops that wasn't supposed to happen. And here we are. We now have seatbelts and helmets and warning labels and all these things, so that people can live longer. Just don't be stupid.
Just don't be stupid. That should be on a t-shirt for you. Just
don't
be stupid.
Don't be stupid.
I think that's what you can learn from Gen X. Something I would say, they say that, Gen Alpha is supposed to be the most disrespectful generation. Gen Z is supposed to be very lost. Millennial is supposed to be broken. Like they're talking about all these generations being so fucked up because of everything that's gone on. What can we learn from Gen X? What can we learn from your generation, from the generation that kind of that leaned into the skid?
You know what I just said, don't be stupid. Like, you'll live longer if you just don't do stupid shit. So that would be my number one. We did all the stupid shit, and those, like I said, we survived. I like I said, we don't take life too seriously. You know, I mean, it's all, and I don't get political or anything like that, but you know, when you think about a dream, you know, the dream all of us were spoon fed. Like, this is supposed to be what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get married, have kids, go to college, have a career. And that is the dream. And a lot of people end up miserable, literally miserable until they die, trying to fulfill, or color in the lines, if you will, trying to live within that framework. And I think most Gen Xers will tell you, and I'm assuming since you've used it, I swear a lot. So
go for it. We
give
money. We give money to charity every time bad language. It's called the Sean Patrick Flannery rule.
Oh.
He said the F word 72 times in 30 minutes.
Nice.
And so we started giving money to charity. It goes to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and Free MMA. It's matched by the studio every time someone uses bad language.
Oh, well, good. Well, so my whole summed up message of that is fuck all that. Fuck all the ideology that we've been spoon fed, and the social norms and all the expectations that have been placed upon us. I think that's the one thing Gen X has done really well, is just given a really big middle finger to that. We were the grunge. Well, actually, our entire childhood was a very eclectic mix of music. But you think about the grunge, the time when grunge came on the scene, and metal, and all the fuck the man, and that mentality that encompasses every bit of who we are. And we still go through life that way. Just give it all a big middle finger and do what you want, do what makes you happy, have fun while you do it, and don't get caught up in somebody else's rules and bullshit. And so that's, I think, if you summed, they used to call us the slacker generation. So that really doesn't fit, because we're some of the hardest working people that I've ever known, and we've had to overcome a lot of shit, right? And we're still working. We're going to probably work until we die. And I would say, though, that label, even though I don't like labels, slacker, we kind of just stepped into that. We leaned into that, and so we're not slackers. But when you think about that whole, what all that could encompass, it's kind of like, I'm slacking off on all the bullshit that you forced me, spoon fed me, and kind of conditioned me, if you will, to follow those rules. And I did most of my life. And now I'm like, fuck that. I just make up my own rules and I do what I want. And so that would be my message to other generations, is just do what you want, and fuck all those rules. The only ones you have to follow are the ones that keep you out of prison or keep you from dying. Those are the only rules you got to follow.
Like, if we got to lean into it, you and I need to eat a lot more avocado toast.
I don't want avocado toast.
I like avocado toast too. It's okay. I know it's a standing millennial joke. You guys with your avocado toast and your
Why would you put houses? Didn't you know?
But I actually like avocado toast. It's not. I thank you guys for avocado toast. I don't know if prior to that, I don't know if I'd have put avocado on my bread. I'm thank you.
I will say, yeah, right. We contributed avocado toast. You guys contributed Nirvana.
We did. We contributed a lot of music. Everybody still wants to sample our shit. It's good stuff. You guys can
Nirvana, Sublime. No. I mean, yeah. I'm kind of sitting here. I'm like, and we gave avocado to, boy, we fucked up.
I want to know that fuck all that mentality. Does that kind of come out in your comedy routine too, or do you have a whole separate?
Yeah, no, it definitely, like, my overarching message is usually somewhere embedded. Maybe I don't say it exactly that way, but it's always in almost every video. Just be unapologetically you. Don't ever apologize for who you are. Don't ever apologize for swearing. Like, they're just words. And I've made so much fun out of the swearing bit that I pretty much have. If I record a video and I didn't squeeze a swear word in there, I go back and re-record it just so I can get kind of like a stamp. Like a Slim Sherri stamp, if it's not there, people feel disappointed. So, just be unapologetically you, don't try to be something that you're not. Don't pretend to be something to please somebody else. Then I kind of embed that. I try to embed that in a lot of my videos through comedy, like make it a little bit lighthearted and easier for people to digest. But yeah, fuck all that noise.
I'm so sorry. I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you, how does kind of being a Gen Xer play into the content you make today? And you kind of gave us a little bit right there about that.
Them.
So I do make a variety. I think early on I made a lot of Gen X content. So I kind of touch on the nerves, a little bit, the stuff people don't want to talk about, about how we grew up and a lot of the trauma that Gen X endured. So I scratched the surface of that pretty early on, kind of making light of some of those topics to get people, thinking about it. And there's a little nostalgia in there at times. And now it's kind of evolved into, I have this certain persona, certain personality, and then I'm known, they call me the Gen X queen. I don't know that I really want that label, but I'm the queen of Gen X because I talk about those topics. But it's, it evolved into, that kind of led me into talking about some of the things I'm talking about here, which is just, again, stepping into that your authenticity and being unapologetic for who you are, because that you can't, like, we are who we are, right? Like, why should we change our stripes to fit somebody else's wants or needs?
Exactly.
And so that definitely plays out in, and I occasionally make a little bit more serious content. I still put very, very much Slim Sherri's infused in there, but I do touch on some more, serious topics, if you will, still throwing some humor in there to keep it light. But, there's just talking about stuff people should be talking about, and a lot of that is rooted in that. A lot of people get stuck in the corporate grind. They get stuck in a job that they hate. They end up miserable. We spend so much of our lives working and giving of ourselves to others that we often do it at the sacrifice of ourselves. And so I just try to touch on that and get people to think about what they're missing out on.
What do you think the biggest difference with Gen X versus the other generations? Because the best thing I've heard is we need to have a voting cap. There needs to be as old as people are allowed to vote as well as young. Personally, I just think the entire country should be given back to the Commonwealth, because clearly you can't govern yourselves. But do you think that, because Gen X in politics is different than anyone else, Gen X in music is different than anyone else. You come from the most singularly definable generation. I mean, we can joke about millennials and avocado toast, but there's such a spectrum in there, technologically, politically, socially, ideologically. But Gen X is a very shockingly cohesive generation in that you guys got fucked. And you kind of banded together over that.
Yeah, I think some of that stems from, when we were growing up, a lot of being latchkey kids, and not all of Gen X was latchkey kids, but even if they weren't a latchkey kid, a lot of them we were just on our own. We were just figuring it out by ourselves, very little supervision, very little direction. And what we found in that was each other. We ran in gangs of the bicycle, gangs were going down the road and just miles from home, frickin' doing stupid shit that kids our age should not have been doing. But what came from that was sort of this sense of camaraderie and just belonging, right, with each other, because that's a lot of times that's all we had. And so I feel like that's kind of moved. It's followed us through life. And what happened, which was an amazing thing, is that we then all found each other on social media, which we never saw that coming, right? We all kind of grew up and went our separate ways. And then social media has slowly brought us back together. We are a very cohesive generation, and one that kind of, even though you got your outliers, because there are some really crazy Gen Xers out there.
There are a few. The guy with the hat, the January 6th weird dude.
Yeah, there are some wackos out there, no doubt. But the majority of us, we all do come together very easily. And I think that we are a generation that, although forgotten, we are very underestimated. Underestimated. And I think that we just kind of live our role of like sitting back here silently, eating our popcorn, watching the shit show unfold. And we're happy with that until something so something goes sideways, and then we definitely rise up very, very quickly and answer the call very quickly. And we don't really spend a lot of time trying to figure out what, who, when, where. We just get in there and get shit done. And that's probably how we'll always be. Unlike, again, you got the millennials over here, sky is falling, right? And then you got the boomers on the other side, just fucking screaming at everybody and bossing people around. And then here's Gen X in the middle. And then you got Gen Z coming up, right? Like, so, and they're, I really do feel sorry for that generation in terms of what they've had to go through in their younger years, But yeah, I think that Gen X is always going to be underestimated, undervalued, and we might still save the world. Who knows?
Well, if you ever want a television show, getting you and some other Gen X influencers together doing social commentary, I'd be happy to give you one. I got to deal with Amazon. Happy to do that. If that is something you ever consider, let me know. I got a show for you.
Oh, hey, you would already be talking to me about something that's already been in my mind. Like, we could have that discussion. There's lots of conversations out there being had about potential.
Alexis, would you set that up? I've got so both Apple and Amazon are looking for a show like that. So we need a
okay. Well, I know all of the Gen X, like the big Gen X creators out there. And we actually just took our show, me and a couple of other bigger Gen X creators just took the show on the road. So we just took over Nashville a couple of weeks ago. We're taking over Cleveland in November. And we're just going around and getting a bunch of people together. And one of the overarching comments that we get often is, you guys should have a series, or you guys need to have a show. So the funny thing that you said that, and I was like, oh, we can actually have that discussion because it's already been kind of on our minds. I think that the audience, surprisingly, you would think with social media, people think because of our age that we're not really on social media. They even cut jokes sometimes about, and really they're thinking of boomers, but they'll mistake and say, oh, Gen Z can't figure out how to use their computer. We invented that shit. Like, we invented, you can thank us for your playlist you have today, because we were inventing that shit by making mixtapes. We've had every freaking, from records to CDs to now digital. We are probably some of the most tech savvy people out there. And I think that's why we are so underestimated.
You invented the tech.
Absolutely.
And people don't see that. Honestly, millennials take a lot of credit for that, and we just sit back. We're like, whatever. But yeah, we invented that shit. Like, you can thank us for Google, you can thank us for Amazon, you can thank us for Apple, like you can thank us for all the big ones out there. And the difference is, here's why Gen X is so overlooked. We don't spend a lot of time patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
We don't spend a lot of time saying, look at me, look what I did. We just do our shit and we keep our heads down, and we'll see you on the high ground. That's kind of how we roll through life.
And that's what's important. And unfortunately, speaking of other grounds, we are out of time for our show.
I'm so sorry for joining.
No.
Cool.
We like it.
Cool.
I'd love to get you on again, and I'm definitely getting you guys a show. I'm Summer Helene. I want to give you a shout out and say thank you so much. Make sure you are following Real Slim Sherri.
The Real Slim Sherri. You can all social media platforms. I'm the Real Slim Sherri. You can find me there. And hopefully I'll get a chance to sit and chat with you guys again. It was a good time, and I do apologize for being late. I was mistaken by the time change. I thought I was supposed to be on at 6 p.m., not 3 p.m. So that's totally my bad.
Don't even stress it. It was fantastic. We'd love to have you on again. We have audience questions. We'll hit them next time. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I am Lady Summer Helene, the Baroness of Ayrshire and Glenlyon.
Where you have that part.
I know, because I really, I'm telling you, I just want Meghan Markle to know she's not the only one here.
Well, my apologies, Lady Summer. I am Bear Fiorda.
This was behind the scenes. Make sure you are following Sherri. She is fantastic. I'm giving her a show. Alexis, set me up a phone meeting with her. Get her on this show again, and let's get her a TV show. We'll see you next week. Good night.
This has been Behind the Scenes with Summer Helene and Bear Fiorda. Only on Talk 4 Media.